For latest updates and short audio clips, follow us on Instagram, Reading the Author.
Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast Reading the Author, a unique show where we read authors' mind and not their book. Meanwhile, I truly believe and pray that you and your families are completely safe and healthy as well. Guys, today we have Ravi sir with us and he is the author of altogether 9 books. Thank you so much sir for coming on our show. We are highly grateful कि आप हमारे show पर आए.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you so much, sir. So, sir, before I get into the questions and ask about your books, about your vision and everything, I would request you to please introduce yourself so that our listeners can know much more about you. And moreover, do let us know how you started this writing journey.
Well, let me start by saying that I am now a 70-year-old gentleman. And I had a very interesting career spreading over various parts of India and abroad. And in the last assignment which I undertook, which was in a place called Gabon in West Africa, I had the opportunity of interacting with a large number of Indians who were working with me. And they were all from well-educated engineers and management graduates, etc. And then I found that it was most of them, all of us practically were bachelors, and it was every evening we used to sit together and talk about various things. And I found that many of them did not know much about our country, India, and all. I mean, the knowledge of what has happened in India post-independence was pretty shallow. Then I decided that I will write a book on that. That is how my journey as an author started. So I finished my tenure in 2014, and by 2015, my first book called Those Were the Days was published. And it's basically a narrative on various developments that have taken place in India over the last 50, 60 years, right? Whether it was in the field of railways or air travel, or whether it was the various games. I mean, you name it, I try to cover a gamut of topics, etc. That is how my journey started, because I wanted people, especially the younger generation, to know that what was India at one time and what has happened to India over a period of time. I mean, let me give you a very simple example. See, in 64, India was in dire straits because we did not have adequate food grains to feed our people. We used to get food grains as grant, and please underline the word grant because it was free from USA under what was called as the Public Law 480, and that was being distributed to all the Indians. And by the year, this happened in 64, 63, and by the year 1970, we had already had revolutionized the production of our agriculture sector, in the agriculture sector. And today we are one of the largest exporter of agricultural products. And this has happened in a country like ours. And mind you, the population in 1964-65 was hardly around 45 crores. And today, with 130 crores, we are having surplus of agricultural, food grains, and we are exporting. And that is the, something which is amazing, which I do not know how many people really know about it. And talking about this PL 480, sorry, we used to even get milk powder as grants from USA. And this was being supplied to all the students in the schools and all. Even I remember having had a glass of milk. And by 1980, we had, not even 80, it was by 70, 72, we had the white revolution called milk, with milk being freely available. So these are all I've touched all these things on a broad basis in that book. So that started my interest in being a writer, and then slowly I started switching over to other short stories and long stories and things.
Okay. So sorry, when was your first book was released, in which year?
If I'm not very sure, it was I think it was end of 2014, early 2015.
Okay.
2014, I think it was 2014.
Okay. So, sir, it has been like almost, we can say around 6 to 7 years have been completed in this book industry. So,
Yes.
what you have seen, like how you have seen this industry evolving, like, what I personally feel that after the first lockdown, we had a boom of authors in our industry. So, what did you realize, like from your perspective, how has this industry evolved as of now?
I'm not really a participant in industry as such. I'm basically participating just as an author in the industry. I'm thereby by default I'm a member of the industry. But I think the biggest challenge in this industry is that reading habits of people are now no longer what it was earlier. I'm the best example for me because I used to earlier read at least one book a week. Now I read probably one book a month, and I don't now buy books. I usually use my Kindle reader for reading the books. So, I mean, these are the changes which are very difficult for a lot of people to know or accept. Reading per se has sort of really, started coming down very drastically, and only, exceptional cases. I would say those who are readers are now, rarity, exceptional. There is a lot of interest in reading general, the self-improvement books like, or management books and all. But reading novels, reading stories, etc., has become a rarity. That is why, you have, for example, this, what do you call, audiobooks and all slowly, gaining traction and all. So that is one thing which I think is a very big challenge for the industry, that how do you keep yourself relevant? You see, if you take, for example, the publishing sector, you will see so many old names no longer existing in India. Even Amazon, which was running one of the biggest, which had acquired one of the biggest. I'm talking about the publishing front. They used to have, I forget the name of even they have a quick printing site. They have Penguin has acquired, Random House has acquired, etc. So, I mean, earlier, and to me, for example, I do read a lot of people saying that, my book has been published by so and so, so and so. But honestly, I feel that today, as a reader, if I have to buy a book, I don't really bother about who the publisher is, whether it is Penguin or it is XYZ. For me, if the author the last page, the back cover summary sounds interesting, and if the author is well known, no problem. If he's not well known, I then go into Amazon and have a look at the various reviews, etc., and then take it from there. So, I mean, it's a totally different world. I mean, people don't want to probably find, or rather people find it difficult to accept, but that's a hard reality. We have to accept it and live with it.
Okay. So, sir, as we all know that you have penned altogether 9 books. So, there's some sort of personal branding going on out there. Like, people want to convey their image as a certain kind of author, as a certain, but they want to build a certain persona of themselves in the mind of readers. Okay, let's say if it's a book by Gaurav, then ये book ऐसी होगी, उन्होंने ऐसा लिखा होगा. So when it comes to you, what sort of message, what sort of feeling that, that sudden thought you want to convey to your readers? Okay, this is my book and this is my image, or something like that. Have you ever thought of that?
No, I have not thought of it, and I am not in that image building or brand creation as far as I'm concerned. Because over the years, last 9, each of my book has got nothing to do with the earlier one. There has been 2-3 books which are, there was a book which was entirely dedicated to women, and it was a collection of short stories. Then I picked up a subject like, I was from textile industry, and I always wanted to write about, the textile strike of Bombay, which no one really now today remembers. But I wanted to write about it because I was part of the industry at that particular point of time in 1983, 82, from 78 onwards. I was very much part of the industry. And, a city like Bombay, which went through a turmoil in the form of textile strike, closure of factories, which lost probably around 500,000 jobs. I mean, no one today remembers it. So I took it upon me to write about it because it was from my sector. I knew I could do justice to that particular subject. I wrote it and I called it The Leader because there was one gentleman called Tata Samant who was instrumental in organizing that strike. So I used him as I used that particular thing as a subject, reference, and wrote a book. Then I used to keep reading about, these Bollywood stars, and especially the fight between the three Khans. Then I said, okay, why not try make an attempt on it? So I wrote a book called Khan versus Khan.
Yeah.
So like that, sorry, none of the topics have anything to do with the previous one. So, my last book, for example, was a collection of short stories on from old age
homes. Yeah.
Now, again, it so happened that recently, two of my elder brothers, they shifted to old age home. And the very concept of old age home has changed so much. It is now a business model. It is no longer what it was in old age home. Earlier, people used to go to old age home, or the children used to send their parents to old age home. Today, people voluntarily go to old age home. I know people who are spending 1.5-2 crores to get a bungalow in these old age homes or a flat in these old age homes and live there. So, it is no longer, a person who can spend, 1.5 crores or 1 crore, whatever it is, liquid money. He is not really looking for, house. He's looking for company, basically. So I wanted to bring that out, and so I wrote that. So, for me, that's why I said, for me, the brand is, on a subject basis. Like there are other authors, like I think Amish and all these people, they have their own, costs. But then I have not yet reached. I have not really found a niche or a topic where I think I can write probably even more than one book. So I have not tried to brand myself for that.
Okay. So, sir, as of now, are you writing something what's in the pipeline as of now?
No. You see, normally I'm one of those authors who, or rather persons who have around 3 or 4 things going on simultaneously. So I have around 2-3 books which are in different stages.
Okay.
So one I have just finished the writing part of it, and I'm waiting for some. I'm right now in Bombay with my granddaughters, and I have been coaxing them to help me with some pictorial depiction. It is more to do with what is called as environment. So it is the title of the book has been already finalized. It's called A Mango Tree, and it is like a mango tree telling a story of a person. And it's a very short one, and I have completed the writing part, and it is now basically waiting the pictorial additions from my granddaughters. So that is done, and I wanted to really print that book and give it free to most of the students, so that they really understand the need to plant more trees. So that is the real idea behind it. I know that it's not an expensive proposition to get a book of 70 odd pages, and I want to do it and give it to a large number of schools, libraries, and even students or principals, etc., so that they can give it as first prize, second prize, or third prize. Many of these students have schools have prizes. So I want to do that. So that is already from my side. As I said, as an author, it is ready, but the description part is what is awaited. Probably by end of the year, it should be ready. Then I'm now right in the middle of a process of writing about stories associated with boat travel. See, I had visited Elephanta Caves in 1984 or something, when I lived in Bombay for 1.5 years or so. So this time when we came, I and my wife, we said, okay, let us go and see that. My daughter had also come, and we said, okay, we'll visit Elephanta Caves. So when I was coming back, I was thinking that there are so many things. I have traveled by boat to so many places on various occasions. So I am trying to now recollect and collect all those various boat rides and create stories around it. So that is the work in progress. So it goes on and on, and so hopefully by 2023 we'll see three of my books should be hitting the market, I would say.
Definitely, sir. So, sir, as of now, like, what's your current writing schedule? Like, every day you devote some particular hours to your writing, or it's like random कि कभी कोई thought आया तो phone में या डायरी में लिख लिया, बाद में बैठ के लिखना है. How does it goes with you?
No, phone में तो मैं लिखता ही हूँ. Like I get even cursed by my wife because sometimes in the middle of the night I wake up and put down whatever I get into my mind. I don't write in the phone. I send it as a mail to myself. So invariably it is there in my inbox the next day, and I'm forced to look at what did I write, why did I write. So it's already it is like I don't have to search for it. So that is my way of reminding what I thought of in the middle of the night. That is what I do. Otherwise, I try to spend at least around 2 to 3 hours a day on my writing, and preferably in the morning. Let's say by between 10 to 1 o'clock, I try to do whatever it is. Sometimes it stretches into evenings, etc. Sometimes there is nothing to write, and sometimes I'm not in a mood to open my laptop. So you see, I'm not what do you call a compulsive writer, etc. I'm a writer by choice. It's a passion for me. So, whenever I'm in a mood, I can write, let's say, around 20 pages at a stretch. When I'm in a mood, I don't even feel like opening the laptop. Normally, I don't write on Sundays. These are the very broad parameters. Other than that, there are no real hard and fast rule that I have to do this at this time or nothing of this.
Okay. So sir, what I personally do, like let's say we have like couple of Instagram pages of quotes and everything. So when I get some idea, I just generally jot down on my notes of my phone. But sometimes when I feel like a little lazy, then I have created a WhatsApp group of myself. Like I have added my mom in that, and then I removed her. Then I am now completely alone in that group. So I just send voice notes over that. So that was quite of easy task. Like, okay, tap on the voice note and just say whatever you're feeling, and after that, I just keep on.
That's interesting. Somehow or the other, I have never felt the need to get into the voice business, because I've always loved to write. So I tell you, for a person like me who has seen, this is something which I had even touched in my first book, as I mentioned. The change, today, a child or a boy or girl of 6 years, she can type so fast with her tab that in our time and all, we had to go to a typewriting institute to learn the QWERTY.
True.
You had to learn QWERTY to get the speed. It was 1 month course, etc. And every day morning, go for half an hour, take your white paper and type it. And those manual typewriters and all. If it is a mistake, you retype it. You now today you don't have to do any retyping. You just cut it, eliminate it. There is no problem. You can cut paste. So all these things are a big change in the advantages that author has got today. Automatic editions, editing a work. Like for example, I subscribe to Grammarly, and so I keep on getting it edited whenever I write. Then there is a Microsoft editor also. That also helps. So it is the technology has given you so much of advantage today for a writer that whether writing in mobile or writing in voice note or doing voice notes, etc. These are all imagine, say 20 years or 30 years ago, when nothing was possible. You had to use a pen to write in paper and then keep it safely and pray that it doesn't get wet, so get or lost. So these are the big advantages today. So we are in a better world today as far as the help of technology. Though it has also harmed us some way, but there are a lot of big advantages.
So sir, as of now, like we have talked about your book, about your journey, about your upcoming projects and everything. Now coming to your personal life, like let's talk about the person who is behind those words. So there must be a lot of moments which you tag as the happiest moment of your life. So if you can share any one of them with us, then that would be really great.
I mean, I don't think there is anything called the happiest moment in life. I'm a postgraduate in economics from Delhi School of Economics, and we were lucky to have been taught by professors. We even had Professor Manmohan Singh, who became subsequently the Prime Minister, and so I had the opportunity to hear a few lectures of his before he shifted to the Planning Commission. And then we had Professor Sen, Amartya Sen, who was a Nobel laureate, who had come a few times as visiting faculty, because earlier he was regularly teaching in Delhi School of Economics, but by the time I joined and I was doing my postgraduate, he had already shifted to London, and he used to come once in a while and take 2-3 lectures, etc. So one of the very famous professors we had, who was not probably will one day surely win the Nobel Prize. His name was called Prasanta Patnaik, and he was considered to be a genius because he finished his doctorate in supposedly around 12 or 16 months or something. And one of the he was a specialist in what was called as a theory of a rational choice. This is a part of economics, in which Professor Sen was also is also a very famous propounder of this theory. See, one of the theory in that is, I think it's an arrows theory or something like that. I forget now, it's so long. Is that you cannot compare two inferior positions. Because if there is one inferior position, there is no way to say that the other position, you consider that to be inferior. Now to say that this inferior position is better than the other inferior position is really irrational. That is the rationality. Now I take it to the other way. I look at it from another point. You cannot compare two, very good moments of your life. It was that moment which was very good at that particular point of time. This moment which is very good or which may come in future is going to be good. So I don't think there is anything called the best moment. Or yes, there are some moments which have left impression in your life. Life is a journey. Everyone has got moments of joy, sorrow, and happiness, etc. And I would rather relish it personally in my whenever I'm alone rather than gloat about it.
Okay. So, sir, after releasing 9 books, do you still feel like stress or anxiety while releasing your book?
Not at all. I write to distress myself. Not distress, de-stress. So for me, writing is a way to get out of stress. So I mean, for me, there is no question of. I don't know. I'm one of the few lucky authors who is not dependent on revenues from these books to sustain. So there is no. If people read, well and good. If they don't read, probably they don't like it. Or let me be harsh on them by saying that they are the losers, not me. My work, when it is complete, has given me the satisfaction. I have written what I thought was good. Fair enough. It kept me occupied. I see that book. I said, okay, fantastic, great, dusted and done, finished. Now I'm not really worried how many people read it. First book, yes, I was very worried. I hope, more people read, etc., etc. Then gradually, I've seen the market. I'll give you. I don't know. Are you from Delhi by any chance?
No, sir. I'm from Varanasi.
Okay, great. See, in Delhi, we used to have a very big bookshop called Galgotias.
Okay.
And it was a reference shop in Connaught Place for books. Okay. You could find all sort of novels, etc., in Galgotias. Today, that shop is no longer existing. That is how the book industry, the bookshop industry, has evolved. So where do you go from here? So it is a part of evolution. We just enjoy it. As I said, writing for me is it keeps me occupied. It keeps me free from worrying about so many things. So why worry about whether this will sell or how many people will read? No, I have no interest in knowing that.
Okay. So, sir, as of now, you are in your 70s, so you must have seen a lot of ups and downs in your life. So when it comes to many young people will be listening to this podcast. So what sort of advice would you like to give, like life advice?
No, I would not give advice to anyone because I think everyone is very well equipped to really analyze the situation and do what is right for them. Because what I go through, what I have done, what I did, I know what I did wrong, but I do not know whether it was wrong per se or whether it was wrong because I did not do it correctly. I don't know. See, I have a project in my mind where in a particular phase of my in my life, when for nearly 4-5 years, whatever I did went wrong. So I do want to bring it out in a small booklet form and share. But even in that, I have no interest in telling why or why you should not do it like that. Okay. I mean, it so happens. It happens. That's it. If you're going to get yourself unnecessarily worked up and say that you do it. See, most of these advisory books are not for or easy to. I read some today or yesterday only. I mean, if only. I mean, it's very easy to keep advising people as long as you don't have to do it yourself. That's it. So, that's what we used to earlier say, that consultants are those who know what you should do and who tell you what you should do, and then give you an explanation as to why what you did not work. So, I mean, it is exactly this advisory thing is exactly like that. Yes, simple things. And today, tell me how many people are really interested in listening to your advice? No one. No one is interested in listening to your advice. It's a very wrong thing to think that people are going to listen to you. No one listens to you. Yes, they may absorb few things which you say and use it in their life, etc. But you try to tell them that this is how you it's like we have the senior citizen groups and all. You see posts and all that. After you retire, you have a solution for all the problems which you face in your career. So I mean, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. See, I always used to say that at the age of 35 and all, I could solve all the maths problem which used to come to me when I was a school student. But when at that particular age, I was not able to solve it. I did not know how to solve it. So I mean, these are all. It is not going to help anyone to say that, listen, I also went through this. So it doesn't really help.
Okay, but sir, my last question of this podcast is, like, after listening to this podcast, maybe many people will start writing, or they will be holding their first draft in their hand. So for those upcoming authors, any guidance if you want to give?
My simplest guidance is that trust your work. Trust your work, have confidence in your work, because there will be enough number of people who will think that it is not good enough. And always accept it and remember that there is always scope for improvement. See, for your first book and the last book, I myself will say that my first book had generally, the first book is always the best. Someone was telling me very recently, your first book was the best. Yes, the first, chances are that most of them would have read your first book only. They may not have read subsequent books. So I come back to your old question, first question or second question about brand. No, you don't create a brand, because what I wrote in that first book, I remember one of my brother-in-law's brother even had given a comment, review saying that there's a fabulous book, fantastic book. It should be recommended for all the students. They should know about your country, etc., etc. I'm 100% sure he has not read subsequent books of mine. So because that book was different, the subsequent books are totally different. So I mean, it is you take, for example, I mean, my last book, for example, Tales from Old Age Homes. A cousin of mine who lives in Pune, and I met him recently also, and he had said that I like all the stories except the last one, and I thought that was the best of it. So it just goes on like that. You have to accept whatever. I mean, so as a young author, as someone who has written something, but make sure your grammar and is right. I'm not even worried about the spelling mistake. Spelling mistake is always a different issue. But grammar is something which is very important, because somewhere along the line, it can change the entire, message that you want to convey, essence. And also make sure you edit it few times before and remember that if an editor can do it, you can also do it yourself. So that is one thing. Then most important is that, you be ready for rejections. If you're ready for rejections, there will be always someone who will be there, who may like what you have written. You can always hope that person and you meet in it is exactly like as you many of the people who go to the colleges and all, they ogle at girls thinking that at least one girl will probably like me. It is like that. It's not what you may think and what happens may not be out of. I think if I remember correctly, the one of the most rejected novels was this Day of the Jackal, which was Frederick Forsyth's, I think. Wasn't it Fred or Ken? Or I forget. Jackie Gibbs. And it was rejected by probably 30 odd people or 40 odd, despite the fact that, and when it finally got published, it was a bestseller at its time, and the movie became a movie. It was one of the high grossers. So it was a fabulous movie. So it's a question of liking and whether at the right, they say the right man at the right time or place. It's like that. So I think you should have confidence in yourself. That's the most important thing. And I would definitely tell people that don't think that it is you can earn money easily as a writer. No writer has earned money easily. Whether it was Tulsidas, the number of copies of Tulsidas Ramayana gets sold now was not sold at his time. So so it's all, or even most of the artists, greatest painters and all, their works were never appreciated during that time. Today, if you buy a Monet something, then pay millions of dollars. So the poor fellow died of poverty. So it's all. Writing should be okay. You start doing well, very great. But don't think that this is going to be my life. And I don't think it really requires more than 2-3 hours a day to write. So you still have balanced, substantial time in your hand to do a lot of other things, which will probably help you improve your writing and give you more ideas to tackle.
Okay, so that's all for today, guys. I hope you must have enjoyed this lovely conversation with Ravi sir. And if you do, then do follow our podcast, Reading the Author, available on all the leading podcast platforms. And don't forget to buy and read the book. आप just Amazon पे जाएं, वहाँ पे सर्च करें NS Ravi या फिर नूरानी S Ravi सर की सारी बुक्स आ जाएंगी. जरूर खरीदें, पढ़ें और अपने जानने वालों के साथ चैनल से जरूर शेयर करें. Thank you so much, sir, for enlightening us with your thoughts. It was my honor to be able to host you today.
Thank you. It was my honor to be part of your podcast.
Pleasure.